Hi, Caesar.
How are you?
Hi, nice to see you.
You too.
Uh, I need your help because, it seems like for years I am trying to drop this person, this ego, and still some little glimpses, some like moments or periods of peace, and a lot of confusion and not clarity. So somehow, I don't know, maybe what I see, maybe too much, too much information, too much teachers, too much methods, and no result. So,
How can you drop what it doesn't exist? How,
well,
how can you get rid of what is not actually there? So
but
we believe it's
mhm,
there, and because
yeah.
we believe it's there, we try to get rid of it. And the one that wants to get rid of it is the one that appears to be there as that. So I believe I am the ego, and I want to get rid of the ego. So the ego cannot get rid of itself. What we have to do is to see what is the reality of the ego. What is it that the ego actually is? So let's have a look at what the ego is. The ego is I, the one that wants to get rid of the ego, as I said before. But if this
Mhm.
I inquire about its own reality, its own nature, then it disappears. It disappears means that you become aware of the fact that it doesn't exist, that the ego is actually consciousness. Inquiry, who am I, is not a question. We understand by inquiry questioning because this is the language that we manage, right? So I will inquire about this, I will inquire about that. But inquiry means observation, attention. Let me give, let me pay attention to this I. Let me observe this I, which I believe to be myself. This is why it's called self-attention, self-awareness, self-inquiry. So the one that is doing the inquiry is the ego, and its inquiry among its own reality. So the ego begins the inquiry, but it doesn't finish it because it disappears in the inquiry itself. If you put it intellectually, not practically, which is what I just mentioned, we can say that there is no answer to the question, who am I? The question, who am I, dissolves the questioner. So practically means is the inquirer investigate about itself, if it pay attention to itself, it disappears. It doesn't find itself, right? Or any answer.
Mhm. Yeah. But seems like, it's like, you know, It is said that it is said that fingernail can cover the sun. So it seems like this.
Yes, this tiny little thought is so troublesome, right?
Yeah.
And it is only a thought. The mind is only a thought. I am the body.
Yeah.
I have name and I have a form. And I have characteristics and attributes, and I am separate individual self. I am this separate individual entity, this person. And I have my own consciousness. See, I have my own individual consciousness. And whatever I know is other. It is outside of myself, separate from myself. It's external to me. And it feels independent from everything and from its own reality, which is consciousness. So that collectively is the mind. And consciousness is quietly there, aware of itself only, not knowing anything else but itself. Because the mind is I and this. See? It knows itself and the other. So the mind always comes accompanied with the other. Right? Without the other, it cannot survive. When you think about something, that something is an object, right? And the thought of the subject must be present. Not because of this, not because of that, not because this is like this. So the I thought is there together with the other thoughts. So mind is actually the subject and the object, right? Now, if the mind, it is left alone without any object, means without any thought, it subsides. It cannot stand, it cannot remain standing. It can survive only by getting attached to something, means by paying attention to something, thinking about something.
Sometimes I think I am able to make my mind quiet, but these are very strong sensations in the body. It's difficult to detach because it seems like I detach from my thoughts, but it's difficult to detach from sensations in the body.
Because you want to detach yourself from it.
Yeah.
You are already what you are, and what you are is neither attached nor detached from anything. See? So for the self, there is neither attachment nor detachment. Attachment and detachment are also thought. See? Even if I say I am detached, this is a very detached thought. Right? Because it still is me, and I believe to be this me, this I, but it is detached or attached. So what I'm suggesting is don't try anything. Just see, we are doing something, right? Mentally. I'm trying to detach. See, I am trying something. We have to become still, or we have to remain still without any expectation, just for the sake of it. This is, in a way, surrender or to surrender, right? And when the mind is still, by the means of inquiry, self-attention, or when it surrenders, then it it merges in the self, it sinks by its own weight.
Come again, please, like the interactions in the connection.
It sinks in the self, see, by its own weight.
I see. Okay. Okay.
So any effort from the mind to dissolve the mind keeps the mind alive.
Okay. Okay, I see.
See, because the mind has to be there doing something to destroy itself. Or it says, I am still, but it's not still because it's waiting to disappear. It's waiting for itself, see, to disappear. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
so the mind disappears by grace. Grace is another name for the self or consciousness. It's consciousness which is going to absorb the mind, right? Because the mind came out of consciousness. The thought arises from the mind, but the mind arises from consciousness. It's only a thought. See? I am outdrawn. You're from Lithuania, right? Or from
Lithuania, yeah.
Lithuania, I remember.
Yeah. Yeah.
Vilnius or Kaunas?
Kaunas.
Kaunas. Yeah.
Kaunas.
Kaunas, yeah. That was the first country that I traveled overseas from India.
I think I was among those first listeners. That's
Yeah.
like,
I have such a good memories from there.
yeah.
Audra used to organize the talks in Kaunas.
Yeah. I remember she was like a translator.
Also, she was
Like,
translating. Yes.
yeah.
We used to have it in the museum. What was the name of the museum?
Yeah, 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 yeah. I
Lovely,
know.
lovely place. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Places I very difficult for me to forget. Names, I
Mm,
forget even mine, but so it is very
yeah.
simple. But what we have to have is a clear understanding of this matter, of this subject. If I am already consciousness, right?
Mhm.
What shall I do to know myself when I am already myself? I just have to,
Nothing. Drop.
exactly, you have to stop thinking that I am something different than what I am. This understanding, which is obvious if we analyze or investigate a little bit of the mind, right? Meaning by that, the three states of mind: awakened state, dream state, deep sleep state. These are the states of mind, and the mind itself, all that collectively is the mind. Hmm? And the thoughts appear there, and all the intellect and desires and tendencies and all that collectively is the mind. Even the objects are the mind, like mental images, right? So, who is let's call it the witness for now, okay, of all that? Me, right?
Me, yeah, me.
So I am that already. So the logic itself will tell me I am that. I must be that. And that is ever present. It is always the same. It does not change. Right? So if I am that, the mind keeps quiet by itself. The mind settles by itself. If I am that, what should I do to be what I am already and to know myself? We already know ourselves, but it is not clearly what we are. Because apparently our self is mixed with the body, right?
Yeah.
Because of there is body consciousness, see? Means there is consciousness and the body. If there is no body, like in deep sleep, there is only consciousness. But in deep sleep, it is also not clear what we actually are. Because one's reality is covered by the darkness, which is the mind itself. The total darkness, people call it total ignorance, right? Or potentiality, or whatever you like to call it, right? So when there is body, we don't know, because still there is an identity with this, right? And now there is identity with, it's the same mind, see? So there is body consciousness. Because consciousness is always conscious. Whatever it is there, it can be there because there is consciousness. Otherwise, how can it exist? There must be a nowhere, so to speak, or a witness, or a seer. Just for the sake of communication, I use these words. None of them are actually accurate to refer to one's reality. Not even consciousness, because consciousness is understood as see, I am conscious now. And if I faint or if I fall asleep, I am unconscious, right?
Yeah.
So consciousness, subconsciousness, unconsciousness. So the word consciousness is associated with these three states. In this sense, consciousness means something else, right? So this consciousness, subconsciousness, unconsciousness, it is sometimes called relative consciousness. It's not real consciousness because it appears and it disappears, right? So how can it be real? And if it disappears, it cannot know that it disappears.
Yes.
Then who is it that knows that everything appears and disappears? I.
Yes, I.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I am always I. Right? For me, the best word is I. Because it is I. It is what I am, right? Either I or I am. So I am I. Or I am I am. So in this sense, consciousness can never be experienced as something, as an object. And it cannot be also be experienced as a subject, right? It's beyond subject and object, right? A subject and object are appearances in consciousness. Who is the subject? I, right? That is the thought. I, that's the mind, right? And when the I, the subject appears, automatically all the objects appear. See, I am here and everything else is there, right? So, to know oneself, the mind has to be totally still. And it becomes still when it's not paying attention to anything. Whether it is physical, meaning by physical, what it is perceived through the senses, the body, right? Feelings, emotions, thoughts, energy, or whatever it is. Then it becomes quiet. When it becomes quiet, then it disappears. Means the thought, I am the body, disappears. And what remains is a clear knowledge. I am consciousness, I am the self, whatever name we want to give it to it. I am I. See, I am not the body, I am I. See, I am. See, without the aggregated, the body. So, so we can read as much as we want. We can attend to as many lectures as we want. But the self is not in the book, in the it's not anywhere. It is what we are.
Thank you.
If something is needed, it's satsang. Because doubts are clear in satsang, right? Understanding happens in satsang. In satsang, even the mind can keep quiet by itself or even disappear. We can forget everything, but we can never forget I am. We can lose everything, we can never lose I am, right? So consciousness will reveal itself as I, not as something known or as a knower. It's called the knower or the witness or what sees or whatever, just to differentiate it from the mind, right? So because consciousness is conscious, so it must be, we assume that it must be conscious of something else, right? So to differentiate consciousness from something else, so sometimes some people refer to it as that which sees, or the witness, or the knower, or but it is just being. See? Being is consciousness. Consciousness is being. See? But being not as an entity, not even as a self. The word self or being in this context means existence. See? That it is what actually is. Right? That I exist as consciousness. Right?
Well, still something waits for miracle to happen.
Yes, 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 exactly. Because we are used to it. See? I am the self I believe to be something else. Then I am waiting to experience the self. The something that I'm waiting is to experience the self. And the ego can never experience the self. At the beginning, it is like that I become aware of the self, but becoming aware of the self, or by becoming aware of the self, I as the ego disappear. Because what I becoming aware as the self is no other than myself, right? And we are used to do something to get something out of my action, right?
Yeah.
Yes. This is called active mind, or those who are familiarized with the Sanskrit terminology, the Rajasic mind, right? That is always doing something to get something out of it. There is always expecting a particular result, right? And of course, there must be body identity, even if it is to fulfill the basic needs of the body. I am going to the office to work to get the money so I can feed this body, right? And look after it, to pay the rent so I can have shelter, to pay clothes, food, maybe to look after other bodies, right? Like the family and so on. Huh?
Yeah.
So that is done for selfish reasons. Selfish means for me as the body, right? When I will profit from it, I will have a personal benefit from that, right?
Yeah.
So there cannot be personal benefit. This inquiry doesn't benefit the person. The inquiry dissolves the idea of being the person. So if the inquiry is done with an impure mind, with an active mind, Rajasic mind, it doesn't help. If the mind is dull, this mind is useful for nothing, right? Only for the body to rest, right? Apathy, laziness, and all that. So it has to be done with a pure mind. It's an action, it's an apparent action from the mind, which is not expecting any result. Altruistic mind, people call it, right? So it's doing it just for the sake of it. So for the sake of it, let me see, who am I?
Even, it's in this like desire for enlightenment, how to call it, it's still some selfish, because there's still like a belief, or I have some taste of it, like a taste of peace and happiness and contentment, and still this what's in it for me,
But this is what we want is what we are. What we want is what we are. So we cannot experience what we want because we want what we are. Right? If it is what I am, how can I want? I can want something, right? But I cannot want to be. I am already. Right? So the mind is also called the the yes. So the mind is also called the reflection of the self, right? The mind is reflected consciousness, right? So imagine that the reflection of myself in the mirror is going to ever see the body that it is projecting it. It can't happen. Again, even though when we are inquiring, because we believe to be the mind, and then by looking by ourselves, the mind becomes totally still. And the self as it is begins to it becomes obvious its presence. Apparently, I become aware of it. Becoming aware of it makes the knower, me as the knower, will disappear. And I remain as the known. The known that is knowing itself, right? There was somebody also, I think from Russia, but he went out of the talk. So, clear?
Yes, clear.
Good.
But you know, still at the back of the mind, like I'm planning like to listen and re-listen and listen again to this talk to make it more clear.
Nothing wrong with that. I was going to suggest you to do that.
Yeah.
So listen for a while and then ponder about it, right? Don't try to understand it. Just meditate on it, right? Dwell on it. I don't know if I am using the right words in English. And inquire. The inquire will bring more understanding. The understanding will you will get more enthusiastic about inquiry. So today is right the date, 30th of October, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So this talk must come out. I don't know if somebody will speak in Russian, but there are normally 2 sessions per day. So, you know, it must be one of the 2 at the beginning because it's the first talk, the first conversation.
Yeah, just in Lithuania it's 8 o'clock in the evening when the talk starts, and like I'm working in the evening, my work. So
No.
today
What is the time now?
now it's like well
Midnight,
like 9 p.m.
9 p.m.
Yes, 9 p.m. Yeah. So, but I will make time. Yeah, I see like I see that somehow I'm not committed to this search, you know, like I want this and that, and then I come back. So, but
See, if we commit,
deep in them.
yes, there must be 100% commitment. At the beginning, okay, it varies from person to person, 70%, and then it depends on 50%, and it depends, right, until until it is 100%. My English is getting terrible because I'm not practicing that much of it. So it becomes 100% commitment. If you're 100% committed, then we don't have to worry about this and that. This and that will happen by itself. Whatever you need will come, and whatever you don't need will go. Right? Without you making the slightest effort.
Okay.
Everything will be okay. Are you in Kaunas now?
Yes, I'm conscious. Yeah.
Please, if you see anybody that I knew in Kaunas, send my regard and love to them.
Okay, okay, Cesar, but I was not one of those who organized. I just one of the guests. I just was one of the guests who came, but somehow like it was maybe some 20 years ago. So during the years, I met some of those people. Yeah. So if I will.
That was, if I remember correctly, in I'll tell you, 2008 or 9.
8, maybe even 7. No, 2008.
2008,
Yes,
yeah.
8.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because I came back to India in 2005, one day before Mr. Ratanlal passed away. And I started giving talks there. And I remember I went to Lithuania 2 years after, and 2 years later.
Yeah. Mhm.
And it was
So good to see you.
was the beginning of winter, I believe, because it was not too cold. It was cold, but it was not that cold yet.
Yes.
So it must have
Yeah,
been
maybe.
November, maybe.
Maybe something like
Because
this.
cooler is like basically January, February, right?
Yeah.
I remember this place called the Catwalk. It used to be called the Catwalk. It's like a boulevard, like a very famous boulevard in Kaunas.
Ah, yeah. Liza Salia. Yes. Catwalk.
I mean, it was called the Catwalk, right?
I hear it for the first time.
Really? I think it's because it's a very famous street and everybody goes, so how to show off.
Yeah.
It's called the
Yeah.
Catwalk.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
so have a look at the talk again and please, you're always welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome, please. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, it was 2008. Oh, so nearly 20.
You came like, I think you came, it was like 2008, and then you came few years after that. Yes, like that.
I used to go every year.
Yeah.
I did it like for 4 years, I believe.
Something like that. I don't remember exactly.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
used to go to Vilnius, Kaunas, Electronite, Klaipėda.
Klaipėda, yeah.
Nida, I will go just for to visit, right?
Yeah.
Actually, I went only once to Nida. But it was mainly Vilnius and Kaunas.
Yeah.
In Vilnius, it was held in a nice place. It was called Arbatos Magia.
Yeah. But you have excellent memory. You remember so many years ago.
And I used to stay in a place called in Vokiečių Street,
In Vilnius, yeah, here.
3 blocks from the city center. It was Did you go to the talks in Vilnius? At the beginning, it was in the house of a very
No.
good friend, Victor.
No, I went just to Kaunas,
From
just to Kaunas.
a good friend, Victor, has a big house at the outskirts of Vilnius. Lovely place. And a big hall. And they used to go many people. That was the first time.
Yeah. I think Darius was in Kaunas. Darius was organizing these talks. Yeah. Mhm. Mhm.
And I think the girlfriend was working in this place. What was her name? Jesus. I think it was Vaiva.
Maybe I don't know those people, but I know only Darius. Yeah. Mm.
Lovely place. The house of tea, the tea house. Oh,
Tea
magia.
house.
Magia is like magic, right?
Like magic, yeah. Tea
Magic,
magic.
the magic of tea was lovely place.
Mhm.
Good.
Good.
Okay. You're welcome.
Okay.
Okay. Ah, five weeks, speak highly about what they are unable to speak one week. To consider them. Pedro, no, it's Pedro is Pedro sí debe ser considerar. ¿No hay más? John.
Cesar, how are you?
Good, and you?
Better than good. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
How are you been? Good?
All good so far.
Okay. Sort of, there's nothing I can do as such with inquiry anymore, it seems. And there's a quiet mind. There's like quiet mind constantly.
Self-inquiry is not the doing.
Good.
Inquiry is self-awareness.
Yeah.
It is basically being, more than doing, just being.
And it gets this part gets very fine, very, it seems discrimination is difficult. Even discrimination is I just can't discriminate, I don't think. Their self-awareness. There's been a lot of energetic stuff that's happened the last 6 months, and that's falling away.
See, self-awareness is ego awareness.
Self-awareness is ego awareness.
Yes, in the word self-inquiry, which means self-awareness, the word self is the ego self. That becomes aware of itself until it disappears. So self-awareness leads to the knowledge of simply being. Being is aware of itself by being itself.
Yeah.
Yes. So you were saying some energetic stuff and so on.
Yeah, that seems to have fallen away now. Well, or integrated, I don't know. It doesn't really matter.
Integrated. This is another new age
thing. Yeah.
vocabulary and
well, I don't know, Caesar.
if the self alone is, how can be integrated?
Yeah.
So if something is being integrated, there must be a seer. And the seer must be forcibly the mind. The mind is what is aware of something other than itself.
The mind is aware.
Yes. Of this, that, or the other. Nowhere is the mind. As I explained before, the word nowhere, seer, witness, to refer to consciousness is just to differentiate it from the mind, from phenomena. Because if we say that consciousness is the witness, it must be the witness of something. So we still have two, right? The subject and the object. Consciousness simply is, in reality, it's just being. And that includes all. But the seer of is the mind. The knower is the mind.
The knower is the mind, the seer is the self.
Yes. So the knower is the mind, the seer is the mind. The mind knows something, the energy that is getting integrated, this, that, or the other, right? So go on.
Well, the energy thing seems to happen even in my sleep.
If you are sleeping, you are not aware of anything.
Well,
And sleep means the absence of phenomenon. The sleep is total ignorance. And the only thing that is there is I, aware only of I.
well, these energy things happen, then it seems to wake me maybe.
No,
Well, I'd be semi-conscious or something. I don't know. I have no idea. But
that is a different thing. So the one that is semi-conscious is the mind. And the one that is experiencing this energy is the mind. And the one that is concerned about it is the mind. The self is...
yeah.
The self is...
I suppose... Do you know, Caesar, to be honest, it seems... I can't say I'm hopeless. I can't say that I found anything. I'm just in a complete limbo. And it's not a bad thing. It's like I could get on with the rest of my life just like this in the I amness or something, and that's fine.
But this I
But I
am...
know,
Again, this I amness is reflected I amness.
well, there's nothing I can do, really. There's nothing. See, this is back to the inquiry is useless again.
Who is in the limbo? The self is not... The self doesn't say I am in the limbo and I am okay with this or that. The self just is. If we know the self as one self, all these arguments will not arise. So don't mistake this I amness as the I amnessless.
Yeah.
Using Nisargadatta's way of speech, because the I amness actually is the self. This other I amness is the reflector of the I am. Right? It's a reflection of the I am, which is a very subtle sense of self, which is the mind in its purity, but it still is the mind.
But how does this get finished off? I mean, I cannot say with conviction that I'm the self. I can't say that with conviction.
That's okay. That's honest of you.
You know, I mean, to be absolutely convinced without a doubt. No, I can't say that. You know,
because still there is the belief of being this I, right? That is experiencing this energy thing that finds itself in the limbo, that says that it's not, it's useless to do the inquiry and all that. The mind in its first modification is a very subtle knowledge of being, but it still is knowledge, right?
and
Since
knowledge is knowing of being.
knowledge of being, self-awareness. this self-awareness is unaware. This self that is aware of itself now, it is unaware in deep sleep.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
this awareness is false awareness.
Okay.
Because it appears and disappears.
Yeah.
Real awareness is where this false awareness appears and disappears. And many people fall in the trap to believe that this pure reflected image of the self is the self. In a way, it is, because it's not different. In the sense that the image in the mirror is different than myself, right?
It's just so trippy, yeah.
Yes, that's fine. Not a problem. Okay. If you can see it, that's good news, right? Now, if you are in the mirror, you have a shower, hot shower, then you don't see clearly the reflection of yourself in the mirror, right? Because it's distorted by the steam, right? The steam can be multiple thoughts, right? If you clear the mirror, you can see perfectly the reflection, but still you see the reflection, right?
Yeah.
So this subtle knowledge of being, this self-awareness, okay, is the purest, most pristine manifestation of the mind, the subtlest form of the mind.
Oh, it's just unbelievably how to get out of this. It's just, yeah. Oh, yeah. And you can live your life happily like this. Perfectly fine.
Yeah, you say so now. Wait until something happens, and then it will turn itself upside down, right?
Okay, which happens now and again, yeah. But it's a lot better than what it was, but that doesn't
No,
matter.
it is.
Yeah, okay.
Life circumstances are fine and pleasant and easy, and there is job and money, and all my needs are satisfied. Then I can be in this state happily forever. But if things changes, you will see how it will react.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So even the knowledge that I have, what you said to me with the reflection being gleaned in the mirror.
Sorry to interrupt you. Real self-awareness is the knowledge of being awareness. But is being it, right? Knowing it means being it, right? It cannot be known, right? It knows itself by being itself. So what we're talking about is related to the previous conversation. Were you listening to the previous conversation, or you just came in?
Today, was it?
Huh?
Or the previous conversation?
With the previous speaker in today's meeting.
Tonight, when I came in.
Yes, today.
At 7. No, I don't know how long this is going on. How long is this going on?
Okay,
this meeting?
I was talking to a lady before talking to you. You didn't hear that?
Oh,
okay.
No, I thought you started at 7 my time.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when the mind is totally still, then it becomes obvious the presence of consciousness. Till then, because I believe to be this mind, apparently I become aware of consciousness. By becoming aware of consciousness, the idea of being the one that is aware of consciousness disappears. And the knowledge of being consciousness becomes clear.
There can't be two. Like, there can't be someone aware of consciousness. Like, I mean, that's false, isn't it? That
Yes.
there's something aware of consciousness.
Yes. Even though when that happens, that knowledge gets reflected in the mind like everything else. What does it mean gets reflected in the mind? Understanding the mind to be thoughts. So the knowledge of being consciousness reflects itself as the thought, I am consciousness, I am that.
Which is the misleading state of being consciousness. That's
No.
misleading, isn't it?
If you identify yourself with the
As that.
with the thought, I am that, with interpretation, then you lose track of yourself again.
You lose track of yourself again, yeah.
So when we know we are that, then we forget that too. Means we stop thinking, I am that. We just remain as that.
Well, that happens often. There's just a clearness, a presentlessness.
Jesus.
You know, it's like just present without anybody being present. And then the mind comes in.
I don't know, all this present thing and all that.
Oh, I can't put words, but it's just, I don't have to.
Consciousness is present, but it's not a presence, right? It is, it's present because it is, right?
Mm. I'm actually not clear. Am I mistaken? Me being mistaken, I'm not clear.
The mind disappears means the idea of I am the mind. The mind merges. Remember the analogy of the salt and the sea, right? If the salt is outside of the sea, it appears as if the salt is a separate entity, right? And then we have the salt and the sea. If I take the salt and throw it in the sea, the salt does not disappear in the sea, it dissolves in the sea. Means the sense of separation between the salt and the sea disappears. When the sense of separation disappears, you cannot call the salt any longer salt, it is the sea, right? So the mind merges in the self, right? And the knowledge of being the self takes place. But the mind still is there, so to speak. It's not there means it's not separate.
Mm.
Right? Sometimes I used to differentiate the self and the mind in this pure state. Okay, just definitions to differentiate, not to say this is what actually is, right? I differentiate between the knowledge of being and the knowledge of being consciousness. The knowledge of
Seeing the salt.
The knowledge of being is the reflection of consciousness. Because it's a very subtle thing here. Right? It's very subtle. And still is I, Caesar. Right? We may not see that. We may not see that, but it still is a thought. Extremely subtle, but it is a thought. Still is an idea of being. Right?
And that subtle idea of being is very difficult to see into, to shake off, to that subtleness of being is.
No, you don't shake it off. You realize that you are not it.
Okay. And how's that done?
You are the knower of it. To differentiate it, From it, I use the word knowledge, or the word witness, or what sees, or what is aware of it.
Well, that awareness, that I find that just astounding, that there's awareness of that consciousness. And I'd often sit and just see that there's awareness of consciousness, and there always seems to be two, but I can't understand how there's two when there isn't two.
I have to use your language because it seems that you are familiarized more than with Nisargadatta's ways of speech.
Am I?
Yes, because you're saying aware of consciousness, right? And
Yeah.
and I assume that you're referring to this subtle knowledge of being as consciousness, right?
Well, there's subtle knowledge. There's knowledge somehow I don't understand of being.
Yes, correct.
And I can't understand what knows. I just can't see what knows. I can't be the seer.
No, you are that. You are this absolute knower.
But that can't be known. I can't know it.
No, you can only be it.
I can't be it because then the mind comes in.
No, you can only be it. The mind cannot come in.
That's where I'm going. That's where it's getting.
That's fine. That's fine. These are you were in traps before and you overcome them. That's obvious. But now this is subtler, right? And for sure you will overcome it, okay? Because you are really keen.
It occupies me 24/7. Just I can't let this go. I get involved in life, and then I say, I get back into this. I sit with myself for years. I just can't shake this.
You can't
thing.
shake it. This knowledge of being, this reflected knowledge, disappears only when the body dies.
I was nearly hoping for that this week.
No. This is the one. This one wants to kill itself, right?
I know, yeah.
It wants to
It's crazy.
disappear, and that keeps you identifying yourself as this one, right?
Yeah.
The self couldn't care less if the mind is there for 3,000 years or if it is disappeared forever. So the one that is concerned about its presence or absence is itself. So there are subtle desires, subtle thoughts coming from this subtle sense of self, which is another identity of the mind. There are subtler identity, which is fine, no problem.
Yeah, okay.
Don't make a big deal out of it.
I won't. I trust you, like I won't. Yeah.
Just understand that this is not I neither. Because this one still is a thought. And it thinks, right? The thinker of the thought is the thought.
Mm-hmm. And that's known as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
and it's driving itself crazy. See? In a very subtle way, because this is what the mind does. See? It drives itself nuts, right? In an evident way or in a more subtle, hidden way. Oh, I wish I could die. Oh God. Until when? Until when? All these are thoughts.
Yeah.
The self does not die, so it cannot think about death out of itself or something else. It doesn't know what the self doesn't know anything. It simply is. And it is always quiet, right? It is a silent existence.
Now, the silent mind and the silent existence, that's so subtle.
Hmm?
The silence of the self and the silent mind, that is so subtle to discriminate.
Yes, that's exactly my point. So silence, in this context, the word silence cannot be referred to the mind. The mind is either still or active. Silence is the self.
So what's the difference between the still mind and the silence of the self?
Because silence doesn't say anything. Silence is always silence. So who is this I that says about the energy, about, a few days ago, yes, I thought about it, just I want this to come to an end. It cannot be the self. See, the self doesn't say I, and yet is I. As Ramana Maharshi said, I disappear, and yet I remain. Means I disappear, means the idea of myself as being something other than the self disappear, and I remain as the self. So that is the difference. The mind is quiet, but then it is noisy. It is still and it is active, right? So again, people sometimes mistake the quiet mind for the quietness, which is the self.
Yeah, I could easily slip into that, but I know I can't be sure.
Yes.
Yeah. That's actually discrimination, isn't it? Knowing I can't be sure, isn't it?
Then the inquiry must go on.
Yeah. Okay.
If the mind says, no, this nonsense, it makes no sense anymore because
Well, okay, that helps because I thought I couldn't discriminate, but obviously I can discriminate when I can see the difference there between the quiet mind and the quiet self, the silent self.
that is what I mentioned. When the mind is totally quiet, really quiet, or genuinely quiet, that is not concerned about energies or this or that, is totally still. And then the presence of consciousness becomes evident. Till then, it's evident to me, right? When it's evident to me, see, when I see consciousness, I disappear as the seer of consciousness. See, I as the ego disappear. And I remain as consciousness. Make sense?
So the self is not reflected in the mind. It's like self is reflected in itself.
The self cannot reflect itself on itself.
Yeah, it can't reflect.
There will be two, one reflecting on other. The reflection is
Well,
still,
that statement right there even means I don't know.
when you are in front of the mirror and you know yourself to be yourself, the reflection does not disappear. The clear, most transparent, pure reflection of yourself still is in the mirror. But you know that you know yourself to be yourself, not the reflection.
There's no doubt, is there? There's no doubt.
In that moment, there is no doubt, because
There's
there is
no
no
doubt.
doubter. You are no longer the doubter.
Yeah, okay.
You are
Oh,
the
okay.
certainty. You are the certainty of the existence of consciousness, or the
Okay.
certainty that you exist as that very consciousness, that you are that.
So the silent mind is bullshit.
Now, suppose that I realize, oh my God, I am not the image in the mirror, my God, and I do like this. So that is going to be reflected also in the mirror, right?
Yeah.
So the thought I am that happens after I know I am that. Right? So self-knowledge gets reflected as knowledge. See? This is what the sages speaks about and write about, right?
Mhm.
But they are not what they say. See, they are what they are. They're speaking about what they are. They are not what are they speaking of. Yeah. I am that, not the thought, I am that. And this is the last trap. This is the very last trap.
Oh, yeah, yeah, good.
So the mind will remain, but as an instrument, not as a self, much less as myself.
No, there's doubt. There's doubt. Yeah, there's doubt. Yeah.
Then fix attention on the I, on the doubter, right? Which is the very seed of the doubt, right? There is a doubt. The seed of the doubt says, right?
There's doubt and there's a seer of the doubt.
And the seed of the doubt is the doubter itself. So the seed of thought is a sword. And that thought is I. It becomes very subtle, but it still is I. It still is a sword. So we have to hold on to this thought I until it disappears as I, right? See, what is the color of the cotton?
Well,
This is made out of cotton. What is the color of the cotton?
it's light blue.
No, the cotton is white.
Oh, yeah.
But it has now blue ink, right?
Mhm.
But the cotton still is a cotton, even when it appears. The cotton still is there. Even when the blueness is there, the cotton still is there. Are you following what I'm trying to say? The cup, remember the cup and the ceramic. When I
This is like,
know that
but
there is only ceramic, the appearance of the cup is there.
like the mind, yeah.
Exactly. But in the mind,
And
the cup is ceramic.
and the seer of the cup.
No. The ceramic doesn't see the cup.
Well, what sees the mind?
The self. Just for the sake of explanation.
Yeah.
But the mind, the self doesn't see anything as different from itself. It doesn't see it as another.
Because everything is the self.
Yes. So the ceramic only see the ceramic.
It doesn't know it. It doesn't even know the mind.
Correct.
That's why I search, because I don't know the mind.
No. The search is done by the mind, not by consciousness. Consciousness doesn't need to search for anything. What else? Is there anything else apart from consciousness that consciousness is searching for?
No.
Ah. The paracetamol finish. Oh, sorry. Because Abraham is going to pick up in it. He can buy some. Okay?
Yeah, yes, possible.
But I asked him to bring some. Give me 1 second, John. 1 second.
Yeah.
Hmm? Can you take a picture and send it to me so he can? Huh? Okay, John. John.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
So the other trap here is you're trying to figure this out with the intellect. I am not using the intellect to understand this I am using it to explain it, but
Yeah.
not to understand it. The understanding of this is direct. The mind is looking at itself and becomes totally still.
Yeah. It's totally still.
When it's totally still, just for the sake of explanation, right? It's like this. See, the mind becomes totally still. It's not active, it's still. When it is still, the self becomes evidence the presence of the self. And apparently I see the self, right? But then the I that sees the self merges in the self, right? And then who is knowing what then?
Well, there seems to be more of just seeing the mind. A blank mind seems to be the case. A quiet mind.
I don't understand.
Well,
If the mind is quiet, the mind doesn't know anything for itself.
no,
It doesn't
yeah.
know anything but if the mind doesn't know anything for itself, it subsides.
Well, it doesn't know anything, only itself. That's true, and that gives a sense of two, Caesar, which is totally confusing.
No. Please try to understand what I mean. If the mind knows nothing but itself, it subsides. It doesn't even stay there knowing itself. It simply subsides. So any idea of myself, even the thoughtless idea of myself disappears. And what remains is a knowledge of being the self or consciousness or awareness or whatever you like to call it. There will not be nowhere of the self. It will be the certainty, no doubt of being the self.
Okay. Yeah.
Because the doubter will not be there, the seer of the self will not be there, the mind will not be there.
Yeah, that's happened a couple of times. But then the mind comes this
Yes.
subtle sense of
Yes. So the inquiry must go on until the ego disappears permanently. Because if the thought I comes to the surface, then
yeah.
even it doesn't matter how subtle it still is capable to cover the self.
It's not after those that after the mind fell away, it's nearly like it claimed to be in that space or something.
Yes.
It's crazy.
Yes. The mind that is under the water cannot say that it is under the water. It can say so only when it was out.
Only when it's yeah. And then I have to be honest with myself about it and say, hold on a
when
minute.
when I wasn't there, when I wasn't there, then
Yeah.
go back there and die. See?
Yeah. Okay.
Say it under the water so you can swallow the water and then the water swallows you and that's the end of you.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hola César, ¿cómo estás?
Bien.
César, la pregunta es que, vale, el yo falso, el ego, se identifica con el cuerpo, pero es tan automático todo y está tan inconsciente que tú ¿cómo frenas este automatismo para que te des cuenta que te identificas con el cuerpo y no sufres? ¿Cómo es todo tan rápido y tanto estamos acostumbrados con el yo cuerpo, el ego con el cuerpo? Entonces caigo en la misma siempre, en el sufrimiento.
La respuesta está en la pregunta. ¿Sí? Es un hábito muy fuerte.
Es un hábito totalmente inconsciente,
Es correcto.
pero ¿cómo cortar con esta identificación maldita con el cuerpo, mente?
Primero no lo demonices y no lo hagas,
Vale,
ni lo hagas porque le das realidad. ¿Sí? La mente es un pensamiento que identifica a la conciencia con el cuerpo, es decir, que hace creer que el yo, que no es otra cosa que conciencia, es el cuerpo.
sí.
Ujú.
Y durante el día y todo
La
la vida,
gente, la gente
¿cómo puedes cortar? ¿Cómo puedo parar?
pone atención al yo que piensa que es el cuerpo.
Vale. En el yo soy. En el,
Tú mismo. ¿Quién dice que es el cuerpo?
mm,
Tú. No intelectualicen tanto esto.
vale.
Sean pragmáticos y prácticos. ¿Quién dice yo soy el cuerpo? ¿Cuál es la respuesta?
Yo,
Yo.
yo.
Entonces pon la atención en ti mismo.
24/7.
24/7, o Dios quiera que puedas, pero
Y entonces con el tiempo se va a desencajar el pensamiento yo con el cuerpo, si se practica 24/7.
sí. La
Vale.
idea de que yo soy el cuerpo desaparece. Y el conocimiento de ser conciencia que se hace evidente.
Vale. Pues eso era la pregunta.
Mantente consciente de ser, indiferentemente de que creas ser el ego o cualquier otra cosa. Mantente consciente de ser. Y pongan atención. Mantente consciente de ser, indiferentemente de la idea que tengas de ti mismo. Si te
Oh,
mantienes consciente de ser, cualquier idea que tengas de ti mismo desaparece. O cualquier pensamiento, ¿sí?, acerca de ti mismo. Lo que piensas que eres desaparece. ¿Mm?
entendí.
Pero permaneces como lo que realmente eres. ¿Sí?
Lo
Es
que
decir,
soy de verdad.
la mente es lo que pienso que yo soy o que creo que soy. Es una idea de mí mismo.
Ilusión. Una idea. Ujú.
Todo el mundo sabe yo soy, yo existo. Todo el mundo es consciente de ser, pero la mayoría es consciente de ser el cuerpo. ¿Sí?
Ya,
No son conscientes de ser conciencia, para ponerlo de otra manera.
entendí.
Si quiero saber quién soy, debo mantenerme simplemente consciente de ser y no distraerme con nada. Objetos que percibo a través de los sentidos, sensaciones físicas, sean agradables o desagradables, ah, no sé, movimientos energéticos, estados de ánimo, ah, cambios de humor, pensamientos, sentimientos, emociones. No. ¿Quién experimenta todo eso? Yo.
Yo,
Y la atención se enfoca allí, aún y seas consciente de todo lo demás. Ignoro todo eso y me pongo atención a mí mismo, hasta que me dé cuenta de mí mismo como lo que realmente soy.
sí, pero mucho es sentir dentro del cuerpo nada más. Esto
Sí,
yo
pero
soy consciente ahora, me cierro los ojos y siento todo el cuerpo, pero como un total.
¿y cuál es el problema?
Eso es el yo soy también.
No, 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 no.
Todo-
Yo siento. Siéntelo, no importa lo que sientas.
Sí,
Y fija la atención en el yo que lo siente, hasta que te des cuenta de la realidad de ese yo, de que ese yo no es ni el cuerpo ni la mente, sino conciencia.
es, sí. Mm,
¿Y qué hora pasa esto y pasa aquello y la energía y siento el cuerpo la atención está en algo, ¿sí? Y por eso pienso en ello, tanto así que hablo de ello. La idea es no pensar en ello. No quiere decir que no seas consciente de ello, sino sé consciente de ser consciente, ¿sí? Sé consciente de ti mismo. Obviamente, Obviamente lo vas a hacer como ego porque crees ser el ego, pero siendo consciente de ti mismo como ego,
Ujú.
la idea la idea de ser el ego va a desaparecer. Y lo que quedas es consciente de ti mismo como conciencia. No, ya no lo puedo. Si lo barajeo más,
Qué bien suena. Pues gracias.
¿Mm?
Muchas gracias.
Tienen que entender qué es la indagación. Lo demás es muy fácil. Es más, no la estoy haciendo, la estoy siendo. Sí.
Mm. Mm, mm. Es que otra cosa, si el intelecto es un pensamiento, ¿quién entiende cuando digo entiendo?
Sí, pero estás haciendo le estás haciendo la pregunta equivocada. Te estás preguntando a la persona equivocada. El intelecto es un instrumento del ego.
Eso.
Mm.
Entonces, ¿quién entiende entonces si es falso y es un pensamiento?
De eso se trata, de darse cuenta que la mente es un pensamiento. Por lo tal, la mente no es un ente, no es un ser, ¿sí? No es un ser individual, no es un ente, es un pensamiento.
Claro, son pensamientos,
No es alguien, cuando mucho es algo.
algo.
Es algo que aparece en la conciencia, como todo lo demás.
Sí, pero creemos que es un ente real. Ahí
Sí,
está
pero
el problema.
hablar de, seguir hablando de ello y filosofando y espiritualizando no nos ayuda.
Sí, es verdad. Pero,
Entonces,
ah,
indaga tú, si, quién es ese yo,
vale.
que a través del intelecto conoce algo. Primero se queda quieto y luego desaparece como yo. ¿Sí?
Ujú.
No es lo que yo soy, nunca, nunca fue lo que yo soy. Oh, salieron y entraron, no me di cuenta. Bueno, ya vamos a terminar.
Pues nada.
Ahora sí me entiendes de qué se trata.
Sí,
Ah,
sí.
el intelecto, ¿de quién es mío?
Ujú.
¿Sí? ¿Quién? ¿Quién es ese quién? Es decir, déjame ver quién es ese quién, que aparentemente soy yo, ¿verdad?
Sí, aparentemente, pero
Entonces, déjame ver quién soy yo. Sí, es ver, observar, o sea, observarme a mí mismo.
mm,
Ok, entonces
Gracias.
lo dejamos por ahora y nos vemos a la noche.
Chao.
See you tomorrow or tonight, those who can.